Los latinos en América estamos transmitiendo desde hermosa 1470 M 96.9 FM. Les habla Lilia Galindo. Tengo a Thomas Elias conmigo vía telefónica. Gracias por estar con nosotros. Good morning, Tom. How are you?
I'm very well, but a lot of people are having trouble today because of the price of their heating bills. Their natural gas bills has gone up phenomenally. The Southern California Gas Company serves 21.5 million customers in Southern California. Their affiliate, the San Diego Gas and Electric Company, serves another 5 million. And in each case, the bills are up by a factor of at least 3 from what they were last year. In my case, I paid $180 last year for the month of January for my heating bill. And this year it was $711.
Wow.
So that's about 4 times as much. And I'm not alone. And so the question is, how much of this is legitimate with the gas company telling us that the wholesale price of gas has gone way up and will come down again in the next month? And how much of this is phony? How much of this is them taking advantage of the fact that the price of the wholesale prices have gone up? And how much of it is due to the fact that they get a certain percentage of that as a profit when they pass the charge through to us? And they're taking advantage of that to really up their profits.
Ok. El día de hoy vamos a hablar del incremento en los precios del gas que han subido fenomenalmente. Ya saben, esta compañía de gas, la compañía de gas, tiene 21.5 millones de clientes aquí en California. Así es que lo que se está haciendo es que ellos, dice, por ejemplo, dice, no solo han doblado, sino triplicado el precio en muchos casos, dice. Por ejemplo, yo el año pasado, en esta misma época, pagaba $186 de mi cuenta. Esta vez viene a 711. Y si lo que tenemos que analizar, si ese incremento del gas es legítimo, efectivamente por la guerra y todo eso, o simplemente están abusando del incremento de los precios, sacando ventaja y tomando lo que ellos quieren de ganancia. So how can we know what is what?
Well, we don't know yet everything about this. I haven't investigated this fully, and neither has anybody else. So I'm not making any charges right now. But we do know that in the field of electricity, companies like Pacific Gas and Electric and Southern California Edison have taken responsibility, quote unquote, for a lot of the fires that we've had in the last 5 years in California. And by the way, after the rainy season we've had so far this year, we're going to have a very big fire season because all that rain is going to produce a lot of growth, a lot of chaparral growing in the wild areas. And by fall, that's going to be dried out and ready to burn. It's going to be tinder. And so next fall, we're going to have a very big fire season, no matter what anybody else says about that. But we can't really prevent that. That's nature at work. But we can prevent, or the companies can prevent, a lot of the damage that they do. But the executives who make the decisions don't have much motive to prevent this kind of stuff. You might want to, I'll stop there for a moment.
Ok, perfecto. Bueno, dice, y vamos a hablar de lo siguiente. Dice, estas compañías, por su lado, la compañía de electricidad que se llama Pacific Gas o Edison, han tomado muchísima responsabilidad acerca de los incendios que se produjeron en el pasado. Dice, y este año que sigue, debido a las fuertes lluvias que tuvimos, pues lo que va a suceder es que crezca mucho la maleza y todas esas áreas, los árboles en las áreas donde ha caído el agua, lo que va a hacer que para otoño tengamos varios lugares que van a tener muchos incendios, porque para ese entonces todo va a estar seco y va a ser propenso a que haya incendios. Y dice, y eso es una cuestión natural que tiene que suceder, pero vamos a continuar. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, so there's a bit of a change though now in what's happening with the utility companies, because until a very short time ago, the top executives of the privately owned utility companies in California had nothing personal to fear when they made bad decisions and irresponsible decisions, even if those decisions cost dozens of human lives, as they did in the fire that destroyed the town of Paradise a few years ago. And that's also how it went. No executive paid a price when a PG&E pipeline exploded in San Bruno and killed 8 people. Nobody paid a price when the utility company executives neglected to order the trimming of vegetation near power lines, and then that vegetation caught fire and destroyed many places around California. In Malibu, in Napa, in San Diego County, many places have had these big fires, and people have been killed, and some companies have even been convicted of manslaughter for these crimes, and they are crimes. But no individual ever paid a price for it until just now. In December, some corporate utility executives were sued, or a lawsuit involving them was settled. And these executives, as individuals, had to pay $117 million. This included 20 former Pacific Gas and Electric officers and directors. The suit was filed by the Fire Victims Trust, which is supposed to distribute money from PG&E and its bankers to victims of the fires in Northern California. We don't have a fire victims trust like that in Southern California, at least not yet. But when you start penalizing the electric utility people for their bad decisions, for their irresponsible and disastrous decisions, then the gas company officials can't be too far behind if their decisions become prove to be fatal.
Okay. Bueno, dice, lo que quiero hablar ahora es de que los funcionarios de las compañías de gas y de electricidad nunca han asumido responsabilidad personal por los daños y las vidas que se han perdido. Dice, ellos solamente están interesados en los porcentajes de ganancia. Y dice, bueno, no se ha tomado ninguna responsabilidad por todos aquellos fuegos que se han producido y que han dejado sin vida a muchísimas personas. Pero esto cambió en diciembre pasado, donde hubo una demanda en contra de los ejecutivos de la compañía de Pacific Gas, y ellos tuvieron que pagar individualmente 117 millones. Y estamos hablando de aproximadamente 20 funcionarios que trabajaban para esa compañía y tuvieron que compensar ahora a las víctimas de estos incendios gracias a que hubo una demanda en contra de ellos. Okay.
Okay, so what we have now then is for the very first time, we have a huge change in lines of responsibility. Over the last 10 years, the utility companies have been convicted of, or they've, in their words, taken responsibility for well over $20 billion in wildfire damage. But even now, not one of their executives has served a single day in jail, not one day in jail for the people responsible for that. And well over 100 people have been killed. That's 5 times as many people killed in these wildfires as in the shootings we've had in the last week. And you know what a big stink has been made over the shootings in the last week. And the fact that the guns have been available to people who had mental health problems in the past, who went out and then shot people in dance halls and in the fields near Half Moon Bay. So at least now, the executives of these utility companies know that some of them have actually had to pay for their misdeeds, and that means that in the future they may be a little bit more responsible about their decisions.
Dice, pero hay cambios muy grandes. Dice, en los últimos 10 años las compañías de gas y electricidad han tenido que pagar aproximadamente 20 billones de dólares por los incendios que se han sido causados. Dice, y se han perdido aproximadamente 100 vidas de personas. Dice, y lo comparamos con el uso de las armas y son muy pocas. Y sin embargo, a los funcionarios de estas compañías no se les ha hecho responsable. Así es que después de esta decisión de enero que se dio con esta decisión de que tuvieron que pagar millones de dólares, pues se espera que se continúe y que al menos ahora respondan financieramente cada funcionario, dice, para ver si así hacen decisiones mejores.
So we don't yet know how this will impact the executives of Southern California Gas and San Diego Gas and Electric, which are really parts of the same company called Sempra Energy. Both of those companies have the same owner. But I'm looking into it, and I know that other journalists are looking into it, and I know that some state commissions are starting to look into it. So it's very possible that someone's going to get penalized because there's been a lot of damage from these higher prices. Many people have had to choose between turning off their heaters in the coldest winter we've had in many years, and buying groceries, because when people who live in apartments and with a typical gas bill in the winter of about $65, now suddenly have to pay $350, they have to make a choice, especially if they're elderly and living on a fixed income. This causes a great deal of hardship. So far, we don't know that anybody's been killed because of this, but that might have been happening, but we just don't know it yet. It might be happening right now as we speak, because the bills are only now arriving, and so the consequences are not fully known yet of these huge gas price increases. Anyway, what we might see now for the first time is some personal responsibility. And if that happens, it's a really good thing, because when people make decisions that cause their companies to be convicted of crimes and cause their companies to cheat people out of billions of dollars,
okay, Tom,
they deserve to be punished. Now they will be.
I have to translate because the time is gone. Bueno, simplemente estas compañías de gas ahora se trata de que se está haciendo una investigación tanto de otras compañías como de la Comisión del Estado para revisar por qué este incremento de precios, a qué se debe este incremento de precios, porque dice, ha ocurrido que ahora personas de muy bajo ingreso pues tengan que escoger entre comer o tener sus calentadores puestos. Dice, ¿cómo es posible que alguien que pagaba $65 ahora tiene que pagar $350? Y si se les aplica también la responsabilidad personal, esto va a ser mucho mejor para que ellos hagan mejores decisiones y no abusen con los precios. Tom, thank you so much, and I will talk to you the other, not the following, but the